Happy day, students. So today we are going to start another topic which is called wave optics. But as you know that the light travels from the sun to us, that means from sun to the earth, or for that matter to everywhere. That energy travels in the form of waves as well as in the form of particle. Because there are various theories. Some theory says that it is the particles in which the light comes to us, and there are certain theories which says that the light travels to us in the form of waves. Okay, so the first theory that came in existence, that was Newton's theory. What Newton said was the light travels in the form of particles, and those particles he gave the name as corpuscles. Okay, and he was able to prove certain characteristics shown by the light. What are those characteristics? That the light travels in straight line, reflection and refraction. He was able to prove. But some other characteristics like photoelectric effect and Compton effect were not proved by Newton's theory. So it was not accepted as such. Then the next theory came, Huygens wave theory. It was accepted to a certain extent, but Huygens was not knowing that whether the wave is transverse or longitudinal, or how it is going to travel through vacuum. He could not explain that. So that's why Huygens theory also was not taken in its full form. Huygens theory was later on supported by Young's experiment, because Young's experiment proved that interference is possible in light, and which is only possible when you are going to take light in the wave form. Okay, so that was a boost to the Huygens theory that light travels in the form of waves. And finally, Maxwell's electromagnetic wave theory also proved that how light travels through the vacuum also. So it was well established that the light do travel in the form of waves. And finally, the Einstein equations or Einstein theory says that light also travel in the form of particles, through which he proved photoelectric effect and Compton effect. So what we can say about light is light travels in both forms. That's why we say that there is a dual nature of light. In particle form, we are able to exhibit, able to prove certain characteristics of light, and in the wave form, we are able to prove certain characteristics. Okay, but here we are not going to discuss both the things. The chapter name is wave optics. So in this particular chapter, we are going to talk about the characteristics which are exhibited by wave nature of light alone. Okay, but before I go into that, I would like to ask that, can we see the light? Is light visible to us? The answer is no. We cannot see the light. We can only see the source of light. Okay. Now source basically means what? Sources are of two types. One is self-illuminated, and other one are those sources which reflects the light of self-illuminated sources, like sun. The sun is self-illuminated, so we can see the sun. But whatever other things we are able to see are also sources, because they are actually reflecting the light of the sun. So they also become the sources. So we can see only the sources, not the light. Okay, I can give you one more example. If suppose that a person as an astronaut goes out of the atmosphere of the earth, what he will see around himself? He will see all dark, because there is no reflection happening over there. He will see all the sources, he will see the sun, he will see the stars, he will be able to see the earth also. The color of the earth from the sky or above the atmosphere is blue, because earth is reflecting color blue, and you can see all other planets also. But since it is not everywhere, like everywhere around it is all the objects, okay, all these objects are reflecting the light, so we are able to see all the objects. That's why it appears that light is everywhere. But if you go above the atmosphere, it is all dark over there. Okay, so if you talk about the spectrum of light, how is the spectrum of light actually? A part of that only is visible. Okay, if I can make the spectrum of light, this is radio waves, microwaves, infrared, then your visible region, then ultraviolet, then you can say X-rays, and then finally gamma rays. Okay, so what is visible to us is this, and I can say that the minimum frequency you can take here somewhere around 4000 angstrom, and maximum somewhere around 7000 angstrom. So this is only visible to us. So we are going to talk about this only. Okay, so let us talk about wave optics. And in wave optics, the first thing that we are going to study is Huygens theory. As I told you that Huygens theory was accepted, but not fully. But there are certain characteristics or certain properties or certain details that Huygens wave theory gives us that are very, very important for us to understand the wave nature of light. Okay. So what is Huygens wave theory? Let's see. Huygens wave theory. So what he says, and Huygens says that the light travels in the form of wave fronts. Okay. First point, light travels in the form of wave fronts. Okay. Now the question is, what is wave front? Now let's see. How can we understand wave fronts now? Alright, let's see now. If there is a source here, okay, and I am making this source also to vibrate in SHM, simple harmonic motion. Our source is vibrating in simple harmonic motion, and this is emitting the energy. Now, if this source is emitting energy, in how many directions that energy is going? It's in all the directions. So, how many directions do we have first of all? We have 6 directions. What are 6? East, west, north, south, up and down. Okay, east, west, north, south, 4 directions, up and down. So if I say that this source is vibrating in SHM, okay, it's emitting energy, and let's assume I am taking one position over here is X. Okay, so at this point also there is a particle at which this source is sending the energy, or this energy is moving to this point also. So what will be the equation of SHM of this particle? I can write this as y equal to A sine kx minus omega t or plus omega t, that's your wish. So let's put it as kx minus omega t. Okay, so this particle is vibrating in this phase. Suppose another particle I take at the same distance x, then what will be its SHM? Same only, y equal to A sine kx minus omega t. Exactly same way here, at distance x again, same one, at this point here, again same, here same, here same, here same, and then above, okay, along z-axis. If I say this is x-axis and this is y-axis, then I am taking it along z-axis. Along z-axis at distance x, what will be the SHM equation? Same one. Along negative z-axis, again it is same. Okay, and if I join these all points, okay, considering this x as the radius, what shape am I going to get? This is radius. This is here also radius. Along negative z-axis also radius. So what shape I will be getting? I will be getting a sphere. Sphere of radius r. Sphere of radius r, or you can say x. Okay, so Huygens says that this sphere actually is wavefront. This sphere actually is wavefront. So what is the definition of a wavefront he gave? He said that locus of all the points which are vibrating in same phase around the main source is called wavefront. Okay, again, locus of all the points which are vibrating in same phase around the main source is called wavefront. In this particular case, what is the shape of a wavefront? It's a sphere. Okay, that's the point 1 of Huygens wave theory. Okay, so light energy from one source to other places move in the form of wavefront. Okay, let's see further then. So this is the main source and this is the wavefront. It's a sphere. Okay, then the second point is all the particles on this wavefront are the sources for secondary disturbance or further disturbance. Okay, all these particles on this wavefront are responsible for making the disturbance to propagate forward. Okay, because they are also oscillating, they are also in simple harmonic motion, so they are going to propagate this energy forward. Okay, now how they are going to propagate the energy? Forward only, remember. So we are going to make the shape like this, because its energy will be going like that, in this directions. Okay, it will be like hemisphere. Alright, because we are not taking this backward side energy, only it transfers the energy in the forward direction, and we are calling them as wavelets. Okay, so energy moving forward from these secondary sources are shown by wavelets. And if we are going to join these wavelets like this, it will make secondary wavefront. What is this? This is secondary wavefront. How we got that? When we are going to join all these wavelets, we are going to get another wavefront, which will be similar in shape to the primary wavefront in normal cases. Okay, this is called secondary wavefront. That's the second point. What is the second point? All the points on this wavefront are the sources which are going to propagate the energy forward. That forward propagation energy we are showing in form of wavelets. When we are going to join the wavelets, we are going to get secondary wavefront. Okay, third point. Third point is the energy propagation is always perpendicular to wavefronts. Okay, you can make wave also here if you want. The energy propagation is always perpendicular to wavefront. That's point number 3. Okay, you can say that energy propagates in the direction of the radius, the radial flow of the energy. Okay, that's point number 3 of Huygens wave theory. Point number 4. The time taken by the energy to move from one wavefront to second wavefront is constant. Okay, what is it? The time taken by energy, or you can say light, to move from one wavefront to second wavefront. One wavefront to second wavefront is constant. Okay. Now you will be saying, what is there in it? It's very easy. Why? Because the speed of light is constant, it's v. Okay. Here also this distance is constant. Here also distance is constant. So it will take the same time. That's fine. If there is no change in the medium anywhere, that's fine. But if the medium changes, then what happens? Let us discuss about that. If the medium changes, then what happens? Now suppose this side here, coefficient of refractive index I am taking as mu2, here I am taking as mu1. Both are different. I say mu2 is greater than mu1. So what will happen over here? The speed of light will decrease. Speed of light will be less than speed of light over here. So because of that, what will happen? The distance travelled in time t here will be more and here will be less. So because of that, am I going to get a spherical wavefront? No. Okay, it will be non-symmetrical wavefront. Why? Because speed of light is not same. When speed of light is not same, then in the same time, here and here, if the time is same, distance travelled will be different. Okay, so even if the medium is not same, the time taken by the wave to move from one wavefront to the second wavefront is constant. That is what Huygens said. Okay, and it was proved to be correct only. That's why we have to remember that. Again, time taken by the light to move from one wavefront to other wavefront is constant. It doesn't depend on medium. Okay, let's see further. 3 types of wavefronts we have. One we have already discussed, that's spherical wavefront. Second is cylindrical wavefront. In which case we will be getting cylindrical wavefront when we will have line sources like this. Okay, in this one you can have some sources in this way. So in these sources, how the energy will be propagated? I am going to make wavelets over here like this. Okay. These are the wavelets. Same way this side also. Make. Okay. Same way along z-axis, positive z-axis and negative z-axis. Okay. So when we are going to join them, what shape are we going to get? This is the shape. Okay, it's a cylindrical wavefront. This is cylindrical wavefront. So whenever there is a line source, the wavefront that we are going to get is cylindrical wavefront. Okay. Let us discuss in this one also. What about the wave? How the wave is moving? Wave is moving like this in the radial direction again. So is it perpendicular to the wavefront? Yes. This direction also. Is it perpendicular to wavefront? Yes. Okay. So remember always, energy flow is always perpendicular to wavefront, irrespective of what type of wavefront it is. So for line sources, which kind of wavefront we are going to get? Cylindrical wavefront. Let's see another, the third one, plane wavefront. Okay, what is plane wavefront then? Tell me that if suppose that the source is at infinity, then what rays, when rays will be coming to us, will they be converging, diverging or parallel to each other? Answer is parallel to each other. When the source is at infinity, the incident rays are always parallel to each other. So this is how the energy is propagating. Okay, and we already said that the wavefront is always perpendicular to the energy propagation. So what we will make? Make plane wavefronts. Okay, we will have plane wavefronts over here. These are plane wavefronts, and here also you see that these are perpendicular to the wavefronts. If I say that this is xy plane, then this is z-axis. Or if I say that this is yz plane, then this is x-axis. Okay, so wave energy is always perpendicular to the wavefronts. Okay, there are certain questions also we can do in this case. What is this? What we can do? Check now. If suppose we can make the plane wavefronts to incident on a convex lens. Okay, we know all that. This is how the rays will be coming from infinity. If I am saying plane wavefront, that means the rays are coming from infinity. So if I can make plane wavefronts like this. The question is, how will be the wavefront on the other side? Okay, what will be the shape and how will be the wavefront on the other side? That's the question asking. Here on this side it's like this. This is plane, this is plane. What happens here? We know that the rays converge. Rays are going to converge like this. Okay, and these rays basically are what? Energy. And what we know, energy is always perpendicular to the wavefronts. So how will be the wavefront here? Wavefront will be like this. The planar wavefront converts into this shape. Now you see that this becomes radius. Is it perpendicular here? Yes. Is it perpendicular here? Yes. Okay, so the shape is like this. Same thing we can see in case of mirror also. Suppose I have a concave mirror. To make a concave mirror for the same question, the incident rays are like this. That means it's a plane wavefront. Now what happens in concave mirror? Rays goes like this. Okay, now rays goes like this. Rays means is energy again, and the energy always is perpendicular. So how to make the shape of wavefronts? Here what is wavefront shape? Here is plane. Then how will be here? It will be like this. Why? Because this need to be radius. Then only it will be perpendicular to the wavefront. So I made it as a radius, considering this is the center. So see then, is this perpendicular to this? Yes. Is this perpendicular to this? Yes. So this is how we can determine the shape of wavefronts. One more question we will do on the wavefronts. Let's see. Suppose that the light is moving from one medium to other medium. Suppose this medium is having refractive index mu1 and here refractive index is mu2. And I say that mu2 is greater than mu1. Okay, here wavefronts are like this. One wavefront is a plane wavefront, another one is like this. So two wavefronts are here, parallel to each other. Okay, these are wavefronts. Now we have to see how the wavefronts are in this medium, which is the denser medium. Okay, now if you think in terms of wavefronts, it's a tough question. So what we can do is, we know that how energy flows. Okay, energy flows always perpendicular to wavefront. So that means ray is definitely coming like this. Okay, rays are coming in this way. Now this rays we can understand. We know that when the ray moves from rarer to denser medium, it always goes towards the normal. So let's make the normal over here. When it's a normal, that means ray will go like this. And wavefront is always perpendicular to the energy. So I'll make it over here. This will be the shape of wavefronts. Okay. Now another question I can ask you, if suppose that this is D1, the distance between the two wavefronts, and this is D2. Now what is the relation between D1 and D2? What we know, between two wavefronts, time taken by the energy will remain constant. Okay, whatever time it takes to move from here to here, same time it will take to move from here to here also. In this case, what is the speed of light? I will say c by mu1. What is the speed of light? C by mu1. And here speed of light? C by mu2. So which is faster? mu2 is more or mu1 is more? mu2 is more. So that means this is speed, which I am saying here is v2. v2 is less than v1. Okay. So if v2 is less than v1, then distance travelled in time t here will be less than distance travelled in time t over here. So it means what? v2 has to be less than v1. Again, distance travelled in time t here and distance travelled in time t here. Same time. So here speed is more, distance will be more. Here speed is less, distance will be less. Okay? So this is the basic information about wavefronts. In our next class, I am going to tell you how we are going to prove reflection and refraction through waves.